Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division 2 video today by me, Vulcan. In this video I have for you the fourth of 6 Battlegroup previews of the new divisions in the latest DLC, The Fate of Finland. Today we're looking at the 122nd Infantry, which is a German infantry division that is accompanied by some Finnish and Estonian forces. So it's an interesting one, but a lot of stuff that we've probably seen before on the Axis side. Either way, I do believe that this division could be built for a balanced deployment type, so that's what I'm trying to do here with this battle group, but it is definitely a work in progress. I think it also has potential to be a more aggressive division in the 1v1 scene. Either way, let's jump into the Recon tab. First of all, we see the Taka and Puja. These are the two-man Finnish sniper squads. They have 2-scope rifles, so very, very efficient at taking out support weapons. And with the high veterancy, will keep themselves alive for a reasonable amount of time. I'm also accompanying them with a card of Fusiliers. These have a slightly different camo to what we're used to, but same old weapons, Kar 98s, MG34, decent firepower and exceptional stealth, and also the very high optics. Then we have the Spätrupp, seen these a million times before. Don't really come in anything exciting in terms of vehicles. The Kubel MG unfortunately just doesn't see much use at all. In terms of Finnish units, you can get the Kubel here as well for the Taka and Puja, which is painted slightly differently, so that's kind of cool. But nothing really changed in terms of statistics. There is the BMW R75 available. This is the first of the Estonian units. The Kev-Os, I'm not sure what that particularly stands for, but either way, these guys have 3 submachine guns and 6 SVTs. Very nice squads indeed. You can get 3 of them in Phase A at 1-star veterancy, and these could potentially take the place of the Fusiliers for a more sort of mid-range engagement style. But I do like the fact that the Fusiliers have the MG34, which allows them to engage at the 750 meter range. The Kev-Os, though, could be very good, and like I said, at mid-range, sort of matching the weapons of a Razvedka squad, but unfortunately not having any more than an AT satchel at their disposal. That's pretty much everything to look at in the Recon tab. Let's jump on to the infantry. So you can get a card of Ersatztruppen, and that gives you 18 available in Phase A. There's, of course, the Grenadiers, the 9-man squads that we've seen plenty of times before. Then we have a card of the Lahito Junta. These guys have the AP or AT rifles, sorry, and the HE grenades. So a nice versatile squad for killing light armor in the early game, as well as destroying infantry at close range in heavy cover. So yeah, you're going to have to play a little bit of a balancing act with these. I think they will get overrun by better close range infantry. But as long as they throw their HE, they should be able to trade quite nicely. Then you have a card of the Pioneeri. These guys have 9 rifles. They also have AT and HE, which is very, very nice indeed. So they can basically take on both armored and infantry threats at close range. So these are going to be pretty nasty to bump into in forests. And yeah, you can only bring them in Phase A, so that's when you're kind of going to have to use them. Grenführer, I do have a card of these in Phase B to give me some leaders. You can, of course, get 6 of these. They have the smoke grenades, that's why I prefer to use them. So nice, decent leader squads. Then we have another Estonian squad, the Sumi Poisid. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly at all, but either way, 3 submachine guns, 5 SVTs, the Lahti machine gun, which has 15 accuracy, really, really nice light machine gun, plus Molotovs. And I think these squads are going to be actually really, really difficult to deal with in the mid game. In this case, I'm bringing them in Phase B. You get 18 on a card. You can get 9 on a card in Phase A, and you can get 27 on a card in Phase B, but you only have 1 card of them. I think in Phase B, it makes sense to bring them in. This is sort of your mid-range infantry. So yeah, they can deal with the sort of mid-range SVT with the machine gun, and they also have the close range with the Molotov and the submachine guns, which can, of course, engage at the 150 meter range compared to the MP40s of like a Grenadier, for example, which can only engage at 100 meter range. The other thing to look out for is the damage and the rate of fire, and also, of course, the accuracy. So these all do quite a lot of damage. Then I have another card of Grenadiers. We've seen these plenty of times before, and of Pioneers. Pioneers, good in the late game for just trading against other good close-range infantry. Other units to look at, we do get Grenadiers with Panzerfaust if you want them. The main difference between Grenadiers with Panzerfausts and Grenadiers is that not only do you have a Panzerfaust, but you just lose availability on the card. And I think in the early game, like having the extra availability is nice, so that's why I'm choosing the ones without in that case. You can get some Pioneer Führer, which have the HE grenade for close range engagements. And then there's the Sturm Pioneer, the 6-man squads with a flamethrower. And finally, there is a Polish leader unit as well. And that's it for the infantry tab. Let's jump over to the tank tab. Now this is another unit, or another division, that gets access to the Stug 4s. I believe we saw the Stug 4s introduced to multiplayer by the 5th SS. And now they are showing up again with the 122nd Infantry. Compared to a normal Stug, they just have a little bit better frontal armor, I believe. I think that's the main difference between a Stug 3G and a Stug 4. Also, of course, you can see the available ammo there for the Stug is slightly higher. And yeah, I think that's about it. But I'm going to be bringing in the Stug 4s in at 1-star veterancy. You only lose 1 availability in the early game, and you give yourself the potential to make these 3-star, which makes them very, very efficient indeed. Card of Stug 3s also upvalued to 1-star veterancy in Phase B, and then I've got a card of the Stug 3G Führer in Phase C. So there we go. There's also another card of Stug 3s available, if you could afford the 4 activation points for that last card. And moving on to the support tab. Interesting little mix here. We got the flamethrower squads. We've seen these plenty of times before. There's the IG-18s, of course, great sort of support weapons for dealing with infantry. Upper Blitz munitions truck. I've only actually got 1 munition truck at the moment because of the way that my arty brings in multi-ammunition trucks to give themselves supply. I do have a Commandant, of course, and I do have a card of the Stör 42 in Phase B. Now, one interesting thing about these is you can actually bring the Stör 42s in Phase C, which would give you a total of 8 of them. And I think with the 122nd, you could potentially push quite hard to have a really strong sort of late game Stug push. Because you've got the Stug 4s, which you can bring in Phase B. You can get 8 of them. And you can also get the 2 cards of Stug 3s with 15 apiece. So they're almost matching the numbers, I think, of the 25th Panzergrenadier in terms of the amount of Stugs they can actually bring in. So other units in the support tab, VulcanHDGaming, to help with the Ersatztruppen. There's the 2-inch mortars, Finnish 2-inch mortars. There's the Finnish Maxim squads. Then there's the MG42s available, which I would definitely say to prefer over the Maxims. And then there's the IG33, and you've got your other commanders available as well. Right, jumping over to the anti-tank tab, you do get access to the Lahti AT rifle squads, and you can see that I'm bringing them in with that painted Kubel. These will certainly help you tear to pieces light armor in the early game, and can deal decent side shots to things like Panzer 4s. Well, I don't know why you'd be fighting against Panzer 4s. More like T-34s. Probably get some decent shots against T-34s with these boys. And there's some more captured 45mm Russian AT guns. I've also got a card of the Tankin Tor Junta. These guys are 10-man exceptional stealth Panzerschreck squads. I've mentioned briefly before, but these will get yourselves a lot of value with the 35 points if they're killing things like medium tanks. So killer 234, pay yourself off. Kill 2 of them, double your money. I think I said that before, but it certainly remains the case. And the fact that you can get quite a lot of cards in the 122nd Infantry AT tab, I think they're definitely worth a spot. I have a card of the Pack 40s in Phase A. I've actually up-vetted them in this case. 3-star Pack 40s can be really, really nice, especially considering they have HE shells as well. It can allow them to take out enemy support weapons or pin down enemy infantry very quickly with the rate of fire increase that comes from the extra veterancy. Then we have the good old Pack 43 Krupp. These are the 88 mils, and these are fantastic. I've seen these in the campaign before this DLC. They are already in the game technically, but now they're available in multiplayer. And these things, whilst having 12 strength, can turn on a dime. They don't have to rotate the carriage in order to like aim and fire. So they'll just spin the gun and get a shot on target very, very quickly. These can acquire targets so quickly indeed. So definitely worth bringing these in. I've got 4 of them in Phase B, 6 of them in Phase C. You can get a lot of them. I did make sure to bring them in the SDKFZ7 just because the multi is way slower. So the SDKFZ7 has 50 km/h on-road speed with 38 km/h off-road speed, whilst the multi is 10 km/h slower basically across the board. So yeah. Make sure to spend the extra 5 points just to bring in the SDKFZ7. Also gives you a vehicle with a machine gun on it, so can't really complain. Other choices, Panzerstrecks. They can be brought in on the Kettengrad. That's probably the only thing that makes them worth bringing. And then we have the Martyrs, of course, and another card of Pack 40s should you need them. Right, jumping into the anti-air tab. Not too many options, but you can get Flakvillings in Phase A if you want to. You can also choose to bring them in Phase B. Then there's the SDKFZ 7-1. These are fantastic, of course. Everybody loves a good Flakvilling, and this one being on tracks just makes it that much better. Then we have the Flak 38 20mm. They can't really come in any exciting transports. It might be nice if they could come in like a 20mm transport, might make them worth bringing in Phase A, but not in this case, unfortunately. And then there's the 20mm on the truck as well, available if you want it. Jumping into the artillery tab, I do have a card of the Battleuführer in Phase A. They are still 30 points as opposed to the VZ-VOD that have been increased in price to 40 points. There's the good old F-22s. These are captured Russian artillery pieces, but the Finnish are using them. And then there's plenty of cards of the SFH-18 150mm. And I've got all 3 cards, one in Phase A, one in Phase B, one in Phase C. And they're all using the multi-ammunition structs to provide themselves with supply. Now there is the ability to bring in a lot of 81mm mortars in this division. You can get 5 cards of them. And if you put them all in at Phase C, that would give you 60 81mm mortars, which would be pretty ridiculous. There is also 4 cards of the LEFH 18M 105mm. Always been a pretty lackluster artillery unit in Division 2, unfortunately. But does use corrected shot quite well. Then there's the Finnish 120mm mortars, if you want these. Let's move on to the air tab. Nothing really new to see here, just a bunch of Ju-87s accompanied by Focke-Wulfs. So in this case, I've got the Ju-87D5 with the 1 250kg bomb and the 4 50kg bombs. These are great for just sniping out support weapons and pinning down infantry very quickly. They do quite a lot of damage because of the amount of bombs they have. I've got 2 cards of these in Phase A. They're 70 points a pop. I think that's they're pretty decent if you have a free airspace to work with. To support them, I have the Ju-87D5, which can not only strafe, but this is also really good for basically going head-on with enemy aircraft to shoot them down. And this can be good as like an intercepting aircraft on enemy bombers and stuff to shoot them down as well, because it is reasonably fast. There are quite a lot of bombers at the moment that are faster than it, but if it's in the right position, you can maybe just get a burst off, which is generally enough to shoot down an enemy aircraft due to the amount of 20 mils on target. Then there's a card of the Focke-Wulf 190 F8s on my battle group. These guys have 8 50 kilogram bombs, and they have 530 km/h speed. So very, very fast bombers, which allows you to just kill off support weapons and pin down infantry very, very quickly indeed. Once they drop their bombs, they become quite a decent fighter, so it's not too bad. Other cards that you can get some ME109G8s, which are Recon fighters. There's the JU87D5 with the 1 500 kilogram bomb and the 2 250 kilogram bomb. They are a little bit slower, but hell of a payload. The trouble is with me, I find they take too long to reload, and so I much prefer the smaller payloads that take less time to reload. Also, if you were to lose this, it's more punishing than it is if you paid only 70 points. Then there's the Focke-Wulf 190s. These have a really cool paint job actually. Very nice indeed. Those Focke-Wulfs. Get 2 cards of those if you want to. And there's also the Focke-Wulf with 4 50 kilogram bombs. It's slightly faster than the one with 8 50 kilogram bombs. And then you have the Focke-Wulf 190 F3, which has a paint job that we've seen before. This one has the 1 500 kilogram bomb. So yeah, if you need it, it's there. But that's about it. That's the 122nd Infantry. Not the most exciting of the new divisions, in my opinion. I think this is probably my least favorite of the new divisions, just because it is a lot of the same sort of stuff that we've seen before. But this is a very exciting unit, and I'm excited to see how well that this can really do, especially in like larger team games. This could be popping armor left, right, and center. I'm really looking forward to playing around with that. It does have 10 round per minute rate of fire as well. With some extra veterancy, you can push that up even higher. So yeah, very cool indeed. Anyway, that's the 122nd Infantry. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.